One question that I get asked all the time from people is the housing market going to crash? You hear the gloom and doom talk on all the media, but what's the data tell us? It tells a completely different story. So here are three reasons why a crash isn't coming anytime soon. Foreclosures are still below pre-pandemic levels. Back in 2008, when we had our last market crash, foreclosures were everywhere because banks handed out risky loans to anybody with a pulse. Today is a totally different story. Foreclosures are still 28% lower than they were in 2019 before the pandemic housing boom started. That's a huge difference from 2008 when people were just walking away from their homes left and right. The second reason is that mortgage lending standards are way stronger and way higher than they were in 2008. Remember when we had the no income, no verification loans? All you had to have was a name and a social security number, and people would give you a mortgage. Those days are long gone. So in the early 2000s, banks handed out mortgages to people who had 560 credit scores, offered 100% financing, had never paid anybody in their life, but all of a sudden we think, hey, we're going to let you buy a house. Well, obviously, when you do that and people have an emergency that comes up, their water heater goes out, the HVAC goes out, the roof needs replaced, these people didn't have the funds to replace those things, so they just walked away from the house. It was a lot easier to find a place to rent back then, too. So, right now, mortgage lending is a lot stricter than it was in those times. Typically, you're going to need at least a 620 credit score to qualify, and 100% loans are few and far between now unless you're buying in a rural development area. The third reason why we're not going to have a crash is that homeowners have way more equity. If you bought a home before the pandemic, your equity is through the roof right now, right? Because homes have appreciated so much in the past 5 years. But in 2008, a lot of buyers didn't put any money down on a house. And then, whenever rates went down or their adjustable rate mortgage came due and they had to refinance, their credit score had not improved and they had not built enough equity in the home to make it feasible to refinance. So we fast forward to today and we have homeowners that are sitting on record amounts of equity. Even if prices adjust, the vast majority of people have enough equity that they can avoid foreclosure. So, what does all this mean? Well, the market may shift, but a full on crash like 2008, that's not going to happen. Prices could level out and demand might fluctuate, but the fundamentals are way stronger this time around. So, if you've been waiting on a massive market collapse before buying, you might be waiting forever. If you've got a friend whose conspiracy theorist uncle won't stop yelling about a housing crash, send this video to him and set the record straight.